2 months ago, 2 years ago. Because when you start focusing on, I don't have this, I don't have that, my husband left me here and he's in the field and I don't even really know this person I married and I don't have any friends. When you do that, you're not grateful. But if you sit there and say, I can see and hear and talk and walk, puts it in perspective really fast, because a lot of our wounded warriors can't even do some of those things. So I started to look at like some key decisions that I had to make in my life and who I was going to listen to. So let's go over a few. So my girlfriend thought my life really, really sucked because I had 2 PCS every 3 years, right? And I'm not going to lie, that's hard. But when I looked at my grandma, her life was an adventure. She lived all over. And the truth is the more places you move, the more you're exposed to. The cultures, the food, the experiences. And one thing I realized when I was talking to my girlfriend back home, is she's a small town girl. How many of you guys were small town girls? Not anymore. And I can probably bet that if you really think about it, there's probably 10 people that are just so jealous of your life right now. Right? You're not a small town girl anymore. So she thought that my life really stunk. Can you click the next slide for me, please? That's my grandma. Isn't she so cute? And that's my grandfather. He was in the Army Air Corps. That's before they even had the Air Force. So that's them on their wedding day. How cute is that? Okay, if you could click the next slide. So my girlfriend thought that my life totally sucked because I had to make new friends all the time. Now look, I'll be honest with you. Making new friends at first can be kind of hard, right? Especially, it's hard. Because I think as we get older, we forget the golden rule that to have friends, you have to be a friend. But I can tell you now that if you stick with it, I love the fact that I have friends all over the world. I love that I have friends in different time zones. So it doesn't matter what time of the day, there's always someone to pick up the phone and gab to, right? The first friend that my grandmother met, that's my grandma on the far side, was this lady in the middle named Mickey. And that's her husband, Herbert. And when Grandma met Mickey, Mickey's husband was a prisoner of war in World War II. And I said, oh my gosh, Grandma, what was that friendship like? Because I can't even imagine. I said, what did you talk about? You know what she said to me? She said, we planned his party. I said, that's pretty badass, Grandma. Because it breaks my heart when I get Facebook messages from you guys, and I have women that come up to me at these events, and they're talking about people being bitchy, or people gossiping. It makes me sick. Because you know what? That's not what they did. They encouraged each other through the war, through POW. And they celebrated when Herbert got home. And their friendship lasted years and years and years. So if you meet someone who just doesn't click with you, move on. Don't confront. Because I promise you, there is a gem out there. There is a best friend that's going to last forever. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. The next best friend that my grandmother met was a wonderful lady named Grace, who has the glasses on. They met overseas, over in Europe, and these 2 women went through PCSing all over the world, birth of children. My grandma was always pregnant. They went through empty nest, kids going to college, kids getting married, grandchildren, husbands retiring, and they went through the death of their spouses. Their friendship lasted longer than their marriages. When Grace would call my grandmother late in her life, and my grandma's caretaker would answer the phone, she would always say, don't tell Ruby, I fell last week. I hurt myself, don't tell her. Till the end, she was so concerned to protect my grandmother and to make sure she wasn't hurting. So, I don't know who you brought tonight, if it's a girlfriend, but give her a hug. She might be changing your diaper in 50 years. okay. Could happen. You guys are funny. So lastly, my girlfriend thought my life really sucked because she thought that my job was to follow my husband around everywhere he went, be the wind beneath his wings. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that we deserve hazardous pay for some of the crap we go through when they're deployed. Am I right? But you know what? You have to recognize that you serve on the home front alongside your husband. And when you're happy at home, he's happy on deployment. Okay? My grandmother's dream was to have a big family. That's all she ever wanted. And so when she married my grandfather and he decided to be career military, she didn't say, well, I can't do that now because I can't do this half the time by myself. And you're going to go TDY all the time and you're going to deploy all the time and I can't be pulling them out of school in the middle of the school year and put them in a new school every year. She didn't say that. She made her dreams come true. She did it. But see, I get it. There's a lot of women out there that blame the lifestyle for why they don't have what they want and why they don't have their interest. And I get it, because there's a lot of power in that. Am I right? Because you can sit there and you can hold it over his head and say, before you, I was. If it wasn't for you, I'd be doing. But I see right through that. Because I know that if you don't try, you don't fail. And if you're holding it over his head, you can just behave as crazy as you want. We all know people that do it, and you know why? Because I did it too. But you know what? When the war started, and I turned on that TV, and I literally could see my husband's battalion fighting, I made a choice. Do I want to sit here until he comes home, pray to God, and cry every night and watch this on TV and dwell in this? Or do I want to get out of here and get distracted? And I got distracted. My dream since I was 5 years old was to be a stand-up comedian. And even though my in-laws didn't get it, and a lot of other people on base didn't get it, that's what I did. I got in the car 3 to 4 nights a week, and I went to a very safe place that I could go, and I took advantage of being here, and I got trained to be a stand-up comedian. And I made my dreams come true. I know women that fly airplanes. I know women that are artists. Now look, not all of us want to do those things or tell fart jokes for money. I get it. It's okay. However, it's little things that you can do each deployment or each duty station. It's little things that you can celebrate. I want you to ask yourself this when you look back. When you leave this duty station or when your husband comes back from this deployment, what are you going to look back and say? Are you going to say what the devil would want you to say? Ugh, that deployment was the worst. I fought with my mother-in-law the whole time and gained 40 pounds. Or are you going to say, you know what? I challenged myself to do a new Italian recipe every week, and I started my own little Cincy business, and I made enough money to take my husband to Italy when he got back. Because when I look back at my husband's time in the war, I see something and I say he survived the war, our marriage survived, but I also say I made my dreams come true. There's no reason why every single one of you can do the same. Can you flip to the next slide, please? This is me and my grandma. We have a passion for poodles. We're kind of crazy. My grandma's 91 now. And as her life begins to fade, her strongest memories are the ones that she spent as a military wife, serving on the home front alongside my grandfather. And my hope and prayer for all of you today is that when you're 91 years old and your granddaughter comes to you and says, Grandma, I'm scared. I hope you'll look at her and you'll say, well, then you stay, because I'll go, because I would do it all again. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. I'd love to meet all of you, whether I signed your book or not. Come see me at the my OBGYN gave me chapstick.